Hey guys, welcome back to your YouTube channel where we learn something new every day. So, do you know how to find out the last used row of any column? If not, in this video, we are going to learn how to find it. Coming up. Now, before we move on to our today's topic, if you are new on this channel and want to keep learning and growing, we share a new video every day, something new to learn about VBA every day. So consider subscribing. Coming back to my topic, as you can see, we have a small table on my Excel file with names of the students, their scores, and there is a formula to calculate their total marks. Okay, assuming that this list can be very long, we don't know how long, and you want to find out the last row of it and paste the formulas accordingly, right? So these are the two different parts. First, we will see how we can find the last active row, which is like row 8 in this case, and then paste depending on how many rows are found out by macro, right? So moving on to my VBA editor. So you can open VBA editor by pressing Alt and F11, and you can insert a new module by clicking on insert and then module. Okay, so I'll be closing this project window and properties window because we won't need it, right? I'll directly come to the code. So if you can see, the way you can find the last row or column is very simple. So first I have defined two variables named as last row and last column, and you have to define them as long, right? But yeah, you can give any names like last row 2 or anything you want. Okay, how you will find the last row is now you have to write last row is equal to then cells, then you have to write rows count, and you have to give the number of the column from where you want the count. So for example, if I just show you my screen, I want the count from let's say column 3, right? So I also want to macro to ignore the blank values, right? So I'll select column 3 here, okay? But this will change based on your requirements, okay? After that, you have to close the bracket. So yeah, after cells, you have to open the bracket and write cells rows dot count, comma, and the column number from where you want the count to be picked. Okay, after that, you just have to write dot and in the brackets Excel up, then dot row. Okay, so this is how you have to write the code. Similarly, if you want to find out the last column which is being used, so for example, in our case, the last column that is being used is column F. Okay, so we will find out through the macro. So as you can see here, similarly, you can write last column, whatever name you have defined, you can write that here is equal to cells. And now you have to define the row from where you want the count to be picked. So remember the difference over here. I mentioned the column from where I want the count. Okay, over here, I want the row from where I want the last used column. So for example, I want to find out last used column based on row 1. So that is why I have written 1 in the code here, and then comma I have written columns count. Okay. After that, similarly, the way we did in the first case, you have to close the bracket, dot and in the bracket Excel to left, and then close the bracket and then dot column. So this way you have to write the codes. Now I have added one more line here so that we know what last row and last column is picked. So I have written a message box here. So the message box will pop up saying what is the last row. So this is a static text, and this is our last row define name, which variable we have given the name of the variable. So that we are using here. Similarly, I have added and VB new line and again, right? So that I get the last column value in the next line in the message box. Okay. So again, this is the static value, last column, semicolon, and after that, this is a variable that we have defined. Okay. Now we will see how this code is running. So I'll just press F5, and if you can see this message box, I'll just bring it here. So it says last row is 8 and last column is 6. So the macro is working correctly. If I just show you my Excel, last row is 8 and last column is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So F is sixth column. So that means macro is working perfectly. Okay, so that is the first part. Now, how we can use it to copy paste dynamically in the range. Okay, we will see that here. So I'll remove this message box part. Okay, and I'll add copy paste, simple copy paste code, right? So here what I want to do, basically as I showed you, this is the formula which I want to be dragged based on the rows count. Okay, so here in this code I'll be using the rows count. Let me show you. Right, so range 4 dot copy, as you know, very simple. And then I'm using range 4 again, and I'm using offset in the bracket 1, so that what I'm doing is I want macro to move one cell down, because range 4 already has a formula, so I don't want to copy formula there. So with offset 1, I'll be moving one row down. Okay, and column is 0 here, so it means I don't want to move to the right columns, I want to stay in the same column. After that, I'm using dot resize, right? Why resize? Because I want to copy based on the last row which I get here. Okay, so last row we got 8, but we don't want to paste it 8 times, right? How many times we want to paste is, in this case we want to paste it as 6 times, right? Because we have total 7 names and first one already has a formula, right? So last row in this case is 8. So that's why I'm doing -2, because first row has titles and second row already has formulas. So I don't want the full count. I want only um, 6 here. So that's how I have defined this. After that, you can see it's space special as formulas. So nothing new here, right? So I'll just run this code here and show you guys. I'll press F5. Okay, so this has changed actually. So I have to change it to F2. Okay, so I'll again run this code because I deleted few rows. So I have to make the change accordingly. Now I'll press the F5 again. Okay, so as you can see now we have the sum and the range is dynamic. We don't have any formulas in 9, 10 or another rows below, right? So this way you can use this, and I'm sure this is going to be helpful to a lot of you people. Let me know in comments if this code is going to be useful to you. Also, if it is yes, hit the like button. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't done that yet. Keep learning, keep growing. We'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.